Hello everybody and welcome back for some weekly VR news. As always, I'm Mateo311 and this is your channel for everything VR related. Today is pretty much business as usual with a bunch of new games releasing, plenty of game updates and new announcements, and finally we have some interesting and maybe unwelcome updates coming to the Meta Quest in version 76. Now there are of course links and timestamps if you want to skip ahead, but let's start things off like normal with the check-in. So as you guys can see, I am once again traveling. This is just a quick little trip, so there's not too much going on in my VR world. However, when I am back home, I'm fully addicted to modded Fallout 4 again. I'm absolutely loving it, and I just wanted to talk about a few other little games that I've been jumping into because, you know, this is the check-in. I have to give an honorable mention to Beatable. I did not expect much from this title. I saw the preview, I'm like, I gotta play it. I have to play it before I believe in this game, and it is finally a good use case for hand tracking. They solved the whole no haptic feedback, and I'm impressed. So if you're into rhythm games, you're looking for something different, something a little bit less physical, go check it out. It is a very solid title. We're just waiting for some new songs. Now on top of that, I also just wanted to mention Civ 7 again. This was an experience I thoroughly enjoyed, but again, if you watch my full video, if I have the choice to play this between PC or Quest, I'm going PC. That's not to say it's bad. I just think it's a good option for people who only have a Quest and want to play Civ 7. You know, think about it. This is kind of a new era. This is a brand new flat screen game and it instantly comes over to Quest. That alone is really cool. Sure, they could have did a few more things to like up the graphics, or we would have loved to see better graphics, but overall it's still the same game. It's still fun to play. And I personally didn't have many performance issues, but I know they're working on some stuttering that some people are seeing. So let's hope that all gets resolved. And I'm just happy to see like brand new, big full-scale games make it onto the Quest. But that's it. I'm not gonna waste any more of your time, guys. Let's get into this week's new releases. First up, we have a sequel to the beloved VR fighting game Gorn. Gorn 2 plans to give us more of that absolutely brutal, slapstick, physics-based combat. If you never played the original game, it's a frantic-paced arena fighter that focuses on cartoony, yet brutally violent battles. Even though it is a physics-based fighting game, everything in the world almost has a rubber-type aspect to it, which ends up leaning a lot more into the comedy aspect rather than going for realistic fighting. It looks like the sequel is giving us more of the same, but with plenty of additional elements, and I'm really curious to see how the modern VR gamer reacts to this title. And speaking of modern gaming, our next title, Eggy, is a mixed reality experience that allows you to raise your very own pet dragon. Obviously, this isn't really my style, but I'm definitely curious about this one because I did have a Tamagotchi as a kid, and it seems like Eggy will recapture some of that same magic, but just in a much cooler fashion. Having your very own personal pet dragon sounds like a dream come true, and I really don't care if I'm the only one in the room who can actually see him. And last up in this week's new release, we're actually getting a real-time strategy game. Crystal Commanders is playable in both VR and mixed reality modes. You could battle it out in a single-player story-driven campaign or challenge other players in online multiplayer. And playing this in mixed reality is like my little kid fantasy come true, as I used to fill my room up with army men and toy tanks and have a pretend battle play out in my imagination. But trust me guys, it's way cooler when it's done with technology. Now I've actually already started playing through this title, and if you guys are interested in seeing any coverage, please let me know down in the description, or just go ahead and comment right now with any other feedback you have, including any likes, dislikes, or content recommendation. Now moving into new game announcements, we have another title that's planning to master hand tracking. Fasthands is a parkour style game that allows you to traverse the world without the use of controller. Instead, you get to move around by pointing, gliding your hands up and down in a running-like motion, or placing your palms down to activate a gliding mode. Now overall, I'm intrigued because it does look pretty cool, but I'm rarely ever sold on hand tracking games. But another new announcement that has me much more excited is the fact that the building sandbox title Besieged is making its way into VR. Besieged was a beloved flat screen title that I just never got around to trying, and now I'm absolutely pumped that it's coming to VR. If you're unfamiliar with the title, it's almost like a combination between building a siege engine and playing Angry Birds. You get to construct some monstrous weapons that hopefully eliminate all your enemies, but usually end up malfunctioning in some quirky fashion. I'm definitely planning to cover this game when it releases in May, and I'm really happy someone decided to port this title to VR. But if you're not currently looking for any new games, 6 previously released titles are all getting some major updates. First up is the beloved Walkabout Minigolf, which is actually going to get a price increase, but it will come with 6 additional DLCs. Starting on May 1st, the base price will move up to $24.99, but it will also include the following courses: Sweetopia, Laser Lair, Shangri-La, Upside Down Town, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and Alpine. Now, if you haven't actually played Walkabout Minigolf, can you even call yourself a VR gamer? I do not like the quote-unquote sport of minigolf at all, yet I find this title oddly addictive. The new courses just get more and more incredible, and this is a staple VR title that everyone should have in their library. But if you're looking for a spookier update to get into, Phasmophobia is running the Cursed Hollow event later this month. 9 of the game's maps are receiving a seasonal graphical overhaul. There's new objectives that come with special rewards, and there's a new scavenger hunt style minigame where you need to find hidden totems across the game's level. Kinetic Games also showed off a pretty massive 2025 roadmap, so I'm definitely looking forward to jumping back into this game later in the year. Now, another game that I always wanted to check out but never jumped into was the online shooter Frenzies. This is basically the shooter mechanics from some of nDream's other titles like Fract thrown into a wacky neon multiplayer title. Well, if you're like me and never tried it, there's some good news, bad news here. The game will be going free to play, but the PlayStation VR 2 version has been canceled. Now, I don't have huge hopes for this title going forward. I almost feel like we have another Nerf Ultimate Championship on our hands, but I do plan to give it at least one try in the near future. Now, another game that I have to give a try is the Conductor Simulator Maestro. Even though tons of people have told me this game is awesome, for one reason or another, I just never got around to it. But now that they've introduced some Lord of the Rings music in their latest update, it feels like it's the perfect moment to jump in. The Doombound DLC introduces 6 new songs, including the main theme from Game of Thrones and the Bridge of Khazad-dûm from Lord of the Rings. Like I said, I don't know why I never tried this game out. I need to remedy that, and both Game of Thrones and it looks like Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings is the push I needed. Now, one of my personal favorite games, Underdogs, is also getting the new Rampage update. This is a new endless mode where you start by picking up some of your equipment and then continually battle waves of enemies for as long as you could possibly survive. Now, you will get additional upgrades between waves, and this game will not only test your skill, but also your cardio, as all that punching is gonna have you breaking a sweat. And that right there was all of the game news. Now, before I jump into today's main topic, I just wanna mention that the Meta Quest 3S is currently on sale for $270 until the end of April. This is the 128GB model, but it does still include Batman and 3 months of MetaQuest Plus. That's an absolutely insane deal. So if you're looking to pick up a VR headset, jump on this. And now let's talk about some of those unwanted changes coming to the MetaQuest in version 76. For starters, they are renaming Horizon Worlds to just Worlds, and you can no longer delete it. That's right, guys, Horizon Worlds, or rather just Worlds, is now here to stay. Now, I know previously people have removed Horizon Worlds because when you have it installed, Meta basically forces world recommendations down your throat and hides the actual games that you want to play. But we already knew that 2025 is the year of Horizon Worlds. Meta has spoke about how this is a top priority project, and I'm still honestly pretty confused as to why, but I guess they know what they're doing. Now, when it comes to additional updates, subtitle transcriptions will no longer be an experimental feature. You can enable this and all aspects of the headset will be giving you on-screen text. Now, I know the current generation loves watching movies with subtitles, but it feels like overkill to have it on for a game chat, unless of course you're hearing impaired. Additionally, Meta is rolling out a system-level advertising ID. Now, at the moment, you will be able to disable this, but the main function of this feature is to create a unique ID that collects information on you and is used to give you relevant ads. Now, this isn't anything truly new. We've seen this before on a zillion other products, but it does once again remind us that Meta's end-all be-all purpose is to collect information on people and then use it for things like advertising. Now, I'm sure people will have a lot to say about this, but in general, those features go ignored by most of the users. Now, I'd love to know how you feel down in the comments, and that was today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you're new here, consider subscribing, and as always, I'll see you guys on next time.